Hello. My name is Bethany Cutlip. I am 22 years old. I live in Clarksburg, West Virginia. Before I get too deep in this video, I wanted to go ahead and quickly apologize for this video not being done right on time. My life has been an abundance of crazy and psychotic, and I'm trying, but it seems like I can't quite get caught up and get on top of things, and so I'm just trying to get everything turned in and hope for the best. Yeah, so I live in Clarksburg, as I mentioned, West Virginia. One of the things I noticed as I was watching some of these other videos was how cool it is that we all live in so many different parts of the country, yet we can come together for this class and be in class together. I watched a video of a girl who lives in Missouri, and then the other video I watched was a guy who lives in Tennessee, and I live in West Virginia, and so we all live kind of all over the place, and I think that that's really, really cool, and I love that about online classes. I grew up here. I graduated high school top of my class with a 4.0, and then I made this stupid decision to go to a school. I went to Fairmont State University for 2 years, and I had really got good opportunities there. I had scholarships there, I had all this stuff, but it wasn't where God wanted me, and so it kind of just sent my life into this chaotic mess, and I finally came to my senses, and I left there, and I took a little bit of time off, and then I started with the leadership and ministry program online, and so that's where I'm at. I'm a ministry and leadership major with an emphasis in youth ministry, and I mentioned that I'm 22 years old. I still live at home with my parents. I have 2 brothers. I am a very sarcastic individual. I make a lot of jokes. I have a really weird sense of humor and like to think I'm funnier than I really actually am. I don't currently have a job just because I'm so active at church and so busy that I don't really have time for it, but I do sell makeup through this company that just recently hit the US called Pharmacy. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask me because, well, I can always use more customers. So I do that. I work on the praise team at my church. I'm in a kind of a weird role with it where I'm not really the praise and worship leader, but I basically organize practice. I make our schedules. I'm a glorified secretary almost with it, but I do all of that, and I sing, and I play piano when needed. I'm not very good at it, but I do it. Play little keys when I'm needed. You can see my keyboard in the background of my room. I play keyboard, play a little bit of guitar. Again, I'm not very good. I'm still very, very basic on things like that. Music is kind of just what I'm all about. I love music, everything about it. It has been one of the things consistently through my life that God has used to kind of just heal me and help me and grow me. I can get lost in music, and I can play music, and I can listen to music, and I can sing music, and it just kind of gets me through a lot of things. My current ministry activities talked a little bit about the praise and worship team. I have the questions over here so that I make sure I answer everything I need to. I work with the praise team, as I mentioned, and I also work with our youth. I'm a youth helper, youth leader, etc., under our children and youth pastor at my church. I attend Higher Rock Ministries. It's a non-denominational church located in Shinnston, West Virginia, which is really close to Clarksburg. I kind of we're a series. There's Clarksburg, Bridgeport, Shinnston, and a few other smaller cities, and we're all kind of right there together, so I can get to and from church not driving the speed limit, because I don't do that. 15 minutes. I do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else at the church I really do. I stay busy. We have practices and meetings and church services and stuff. I'm at the church more than I'm home, and if I'm not home or at church, I'm with my, I don't even know what to call him. His name is Will. We're not really officially dating, but we've been talking for 2 years. It's crazy. That's a whole situation. We won't have to get into that. But I do have someone in my life. We're not married, but fingers crossed. No, I'm not a luck person. Like, I fully am a prayer, believe in God. Like, luck's not a thing. Okay, so what does it mean to be a Christian leader? I think for me, like, the biggest thing that comes to mind, like, aside from serving and being a servant leader, is that for me, it's about discipleship, and it's about the Great Commission that God has placed upon us. Like, all Christians are supposed to be going into the world and sharing the gospel and making disciples of people. And then you add leadership to the fact that you're a Christian and you're in a leadership position, whether it's at church or even at work. Your job as a Christian leader and in any type of Christian leadership is to really disciple people and to help them grow and mature in their relationship with Christ, especially in youth ministry, which is where a lot of my calling comes into play. I'm called to be a youth minister and evangelist in addition to praise and worship ministry and with it. And so, like, really the focus is always going to be making sure you're drawing people closer to Christ with how you lead them. That's the goal. And then that kind of like leads into the difference between leadership and Christian leadership, is that leadership in a secular sense is it's about a company, it's about an organization, it's about, bottom lines and sales and whatever else goes into that. And some of the leadership styles that we've learned about, like I said, I'm a little bit late on this video, but I had taken leadership classes before and heard about some of the leadership styles before. In my youth, when I was still a younger lady at Clarksburg Church of God, that's where I grew up. That was the church I grew up at. My pastor, and at the time also youth pastor, did a John Maxwell leadership book with us, I think is his name. And so leadership is not a foreign concept to me. But leadership styles, whether the intention behind it is to help people grow and to help people, whatever, at the end of the day, secular leadership is really just about that organization. Whereas Christian leadership, while a part of it factors into being about your church and being about, achieving goals within that organization of your church, a church is more of an organism and a living thing. And our goals exceed just the stuff here on earth. We have eternal things that we're trying to strive for. And if we fail, it's not just about a bottom line. If we fail in our Christian leadership, the consequences are so much greater, and we're held biblically to a higher standard as leaders than leadership in the secular world. We're held to this like place, especially if you're a teacher and a preacher and things like that, where if you fail, the consequences are so much greater than just a loss of money or a loss of business. The consequences are eternal, and so I think the stakes are higher with Christian leadership. And of course, like, there's a lot more care and a lot more servanthood and a lot more biblical based things in Christian leadership than you're going to get in secular. As far as the biblical passages that inform my understanding of leadership, of course, there's like the go-to follow Jesus's teachings, but I think for me, one of the greatest places you can go to see example of like, or to really help with understanding of what leadership is to look at Acts and to look at the epistles and look at the early church and the disciples' lives and even Paul's life, because Paul was a direct, he came as part of the early church and as part of what that was. And for me, it's not about looking at their leadership as much as it is looking at how they choose to live their lives as they were affected by the leadership of Christ. Christ's leadership caused them to do what they did in Acts. And so, like, leadership isn't about me, the leader, and what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And it wasn't even about Jesus and what he was doing and how he was doing it, but the results of the leadership and the way it affects the followers' lives. And that's where the focus should be I can't really think of any questions I need to answer, but I'm about to run out of time to keep this within the 5 to 10 minute range. It's going to run a few seconds over, but yeah, that's kind of sort of, I'm excited to see what this class does to deepen my knowledge of leadership and Christian leadership, and kind of just to help me grow as a person. I'm excited. I look forward to it. And again, I apologize for this being late. Thanks. Bye.